All right, once again, very, very good job. So now we're going to start with the reverse gallop into the gallop. So it does feel kind of funny when you first try this because, well, when you start with the gallop so often, it just seems strange to start with the reverse. So yeah, full bar of reverse gallop, full bar of gallop, and then we go back to the reverse once more, just more chord changes, and then gallop again. So here we go, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a done. 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. $140. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. $180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's try the repeats at 160. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, next sweep picking thing. So this one is a little bit different. This is actually an A minor 7. See, we have not gotten to the theory behind that yet. But basically, we're taking that C major chord shape that you learned. We're throwing an A at the beginning of it. So when you have, well, basically when you have a C major chord, you add an A to the, well, more like an A to the top of it, then it becomes, I'm saying that backwards, an A to the bottom of it, you get an A minor 7. So we're getting into triads and all that stuff there. It's like those first three notes. That is an A minor chord right there, the A, C, and E. And then you got the C major right there. So when you combine an A minor and a C major, you get an A minor 7. So, yeah, we will be getting into that in much more detail. But, yes, A minor 7. So another way you can look at it, there's your, that's a C major chord right there, just the three notes that you need. Here's an A minor, and now both together. Anyway, let's play this. Yeah, the picking direction. Make sure you notice you got those 4 upstrokes in a row, and then you're going to switch to the downstroke there, hammer on, and then continue with the downstrokes. So you got your down, hammer on, down, 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 hammer pull, up, 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 down, hammer on, down, 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 hammer pull, up, 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 down. So, kind of similar to what you have been doing, except instead of hitting the same note twice, we're going to change notes now. 60. 1, 2, 3, 4. $120, 1, 2, 3, 4. $180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. $240. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Chord theory. I'm going to change a couple things here. There. All right, so we got some movable triad chords. So this is going to help us see the fretboard more. It's also going to tie into some of that power chord stuff that you did before, where kind of putting some chord progressions together using the numbered system. So we are going to do that with these as well. So again, great way to see the fretboard, how things all tie together, how things are laid out, all that stuff. So the first line is done, so you have an example of what things should look like. So with that C chord there, now you want to know what the intervals are, like what the voicing of the chord is, like how the intervals are stacked. So with that being the C note there, that's root note, so that's 1, that's the 1. And then right there, now that should be a very familiar chord shape. Because you've played tons of these. So that's just the C5 chord right there. Which means that's the 5th interval, right? And then here, well, you've played tons of those shapes. In fact, we just did that with number 1 today. So recognizing stuff like that can be very helpful to eliminate like extra thinking, because we want to try and simplify stuff as much as possible. So we want to try recognizing those similar patterns, those same shapes that you've been using. So right there, that's like an immediate hint. It's like, wait a minute, I know this shape. That's just the C5 power chord. So that tells us right away that's the root, that's the 5, that's the root again. So just an octave higher. So that's 1, 5, 1. So right there, process of elimination, that's the 3rd interval. So the chords always go 1, 5, 1, 3. Now if it's a minor chord, of course we flat the 3. And if it's a diminished, we need to have the flat 3 and the flat 5. But still it's stacked up in that order. 1, 5, 1, 3. So just gonna, good idea, like arpeggiate each chord as you go through them. So you can see how it looks, hear how it all sounds. So the only chords you'll actually end up barring are the minor chords for this set, for that first set. Still best not to bar for the B diminished, because we don't want to accidentally hit that note there. It's not in key, not part of the chord. So yeah, we don't want that. Whoops. So when you look at the other lines here, the first chord is done, so you can get an idea of how the shape looks. So for the next one, you got that C major chord start, and I'm barring, with the ring finger there. The voicing is the same. So once again, we got that same power chord shape. So the 1, 5, 1, and then we got the 3. So 1, 5, 1, 3. It's the same thing. Sounds a little darker over here because of the strings, being all thick and fat and way up here. Those thin strings sound a bit more bright, but the notes are the same. The octaves are the same too. So basically, that's like this template you can go by. So basically, you slide it up to the next root note, and then you change what needs to be changed to make it the next chord. So in this case, it would be D minor. So we got to take that 3 and flat it. So we go from this to that, and you put that in. And then for like the diminished, so you could start with like a B minor chord and then flat that 5 to get that B diminished. Just in case you forget how to do a B diminished or any kind of diminished on here, you can always take a minor chord and then flat the 5. Now the third line is once again the same voicing. It looks like a D major chord like this, but slid way up here. So again, that's the 1, 5, 1, 3. So that's how the power chords look when you start on the D string. So we got that shape to begin with, 1, 5, 1, and then the third interval. So you're going to move that one around. Now, some of those shapes feel pretty weird. You know, stretch is kind of funny. And because of that, I'm giving you another option you could do for movable bar chord shapes, or just movable shapes in general, starting on that D string, and it's this. So it's basically taking this chord here and playing the top 4 strings. And the very first chord on there also uses that shape, but then plays those 4 strings. And if you're wondering, well, what if you played the middle? That is a type of C chord. That would technically be a C major over G, which makes it an inversion, but we're not there yet. So we'll get to that later. We will talk about inversions later. So anyway, yeah, that's the last shape there, and this is building it up 1, 3, 5, 1. So 1, 3, 5, 1. The intervals are in order, so it's just straight in line, just 1, 3, 5, and then octave of the 1. So if you need to make this shape minor, you take that 3 and you flat it. Now this next shape, the diminished, is a little weird, but as just once again, you take the minor chord and you flat that 5. So remember, we had the major here, 1, 3, 5, 1. Flat that third, we get 1, flat 3, 5, and 1. And then to make it diminish, we need to flat that 5. So we go 1, flat 3, 5, flat that down. The 1's still there. You just gotta put all those shapes in the proper place. So one thing to point out, or one last thing to point out, right here, see you have the Roman numeral 3 2 times in a row. So basically, when you're going through this stuff, you're going to come across that again. When that happens, the first time you're going to write the chord an octave, like at the higher octave, starting on the 12th fret. And then when you see the Roman numeral happen again, you know it's time to move it down to the open position. So just subtract 12 from all the frets. So like right here, you have the 6th twice. So you're going to be playing up on the 12th fret and the open position. Down here, the 2 is done twice. So high octave, open position. And then down here, the 3, chord number 3 is done twice. So higher octave, open position. So you just want to be careful with that. Because a lot of times when I start doing this sort of thing with people, they'll just look directly above here and think it needs to be exact same chord every single time. But it's not going to be like that, because like here we had the E minor twice. Well, here it's going to be once, and then we go to that F chord. So just got to be careful with the Roman numerals. It'll tell you what to do. All right. I think that covers everything. So any questions come up, let me know. And I will see you again next week. Oh, yes. But please send over what you have filled in before you start practicing it too much. This way I can let you know if it looks correct or if anything needs to be checked or fixed. All right, that's that. See you next week.